All right, now we'll be talking about the payable ledger control account. So let's make the payable ledger control account is more easier than the receivable ledger control account. Few things in it. So payable ledger control account. So we have the opening balance because it's a liability. So the opening balance is usually on the credit side, but again, there can be an exception. There may be exceptions due to which the balance may be opposite. So payable ledger control account, the opening balance is on the credit side, and then we have the credit purchases. Then we have the credit purchases. Okay, then we have the purchase returns. Now the purchase returns is also known as the return outwards. And then we have the discount received. Discount received. Then we have cash paid to supplier, cash paid to credit supplier. These are not the cash purchases. Cash paid to credit supplier. And then again, we have the contra thing. The contra balance, which we discussed over there. And then we will have the closing balance. Okay, now we can discuss that how these balances have drive within the T account. So the credit purchases. So when we make the purchases and the purchases on credit, so the double entry is debit purchases account and credit payable account. So purchase account is being debited and the payable account is being credited. So the payable account is being credited to the credit purchases. This is the reference we give. Then we have the purchase returns. So purchase returns are the return outwards. So debit payable account because the liability is reduced when you return the goods, and credit purchase return because purchases are being debited, and when you make them return, that the purchase return is being credited. Purchase returns account. Okay, then we have the third one, which is the discount received. Discount received is an income. So it is being credited, discount received. And the debit entry is the payable, the liability, the corresponding liability is reduced. Then we have the cash paid to the credit supplier. That simply means credit cash and debit payable. This is a liability. And then we have the contra entry, which we have already discussed. So the contra entry is debit payable and credit receivable. So this is the payable ledger control account. Okay, now we'll be talking about the exam focus thing, how you may get the question from the control accounts within your exam. So exam focus thing. Okay, so you may have the questions within your exam, and it can be worth 10 to 20 marks because it's all about the MCQs. In the computer-based exam, the computer shuffles it for you, so you may have 5 questions, that means 10 marks, and similarly 10 question as well for 20 marks. So in the exam, the first part may be regarding the balancing figure. The balancing figure. It can be anything. For example, the examiner will be giving you the data, for example, related to the payable ledger control account. They give you the opening balance, they give you even the closing balance, and they give you the purchase returns, discount received, and they ask you regarding what is the amount of the credit purchases. So when you have this balancing figure thing within an exam question, so you just need to do that, make a T account. You already know the format of it. Make the T account, the first step. Make account, and then put all the data being given relevant to the particular ledger, because you may have something related to anything else, like anything which is not relevant to the ledger. So when you have the balancing figure exam requirement, So the first step is make the ledger and then put or post the relevant balances. For example, opening balance, closing balance, purchase return. And then the last step is compute the balancing figure. Compute the balancing figure. Now compute the balancing figure, how we can do that? Like when you have put all the balances within the T account, so you just total the side which is more, which is greater, and then you deduct the weaker side from it, the balancing figure will come on the weaker side. So this is how you calculate the balancing figure. So you put all the, make the ledger, put all the balances, and then you compute the balancing figure. The balancing figure will come on the side where it is supposed to be recorded. So the simple rule is you just total both sides, see which side is greater, the balancing figure will come on the weaker side. So this is the first thing, calculating the balancing figure. Now, the second and one of the most important requirement is the errors and the rectification. Errors and the rectification. This is one of the most important requirement within the exam question. So regarding the errors and the rectification, the error may be, for example, the omissions. The error may be the overcosting. The error may be undercosting. And the fourth one is posting on the incorrect side of the ledger. So these are the four common errors we have usually in an exam question. We have also seen these things in the bank reconciliation chapter. So the omission, for example, you forgot to record any balance. So how to deal with that? How to rectify that error of omission? So record the balance on the original side. Original means where it is supposed to be recorded. For example, you talk about the credit sales, it should be recorded on the debit side. For example, you talk about the sales return, it should be recorded on the credit side. So if you have omitted any balance, record the balance on the original side. Then we have the overcosting. For example, you talk about this payable ledger control account. The credit purchases was supposed to be recorded by 1 lakh, and unfortunately, you have recorded 1,20,000. This is known as the overcosting. You have recorded more balance. So record the difference. The difference is the amount. The difference is the amount between the amount that should have been posted and that is posted. So record the difference on the opposite side. Why we are recording it on the opposite side? Because you have recorded more balance on the original side. Undercosting is that you have recorded less balance. So what you're going to do is record the difference on the original side where it is supposed to be recorded, original side. And then we have incorrect side, posting on the incorrect side of the ledger. For example, sales return should be posted on the credit side, and you unfortunately posted it on the debit side. Now, what is the treatment? What is the rectification of incorrect side error? So you need to record the double figure, the double amount, record the double amount on the original side. So this is how you're going to deal with the errors and how you're going to rectify. So it can be error of omission, it can be overcosting, it can be undercosting, and incorrect side of the ledger. So basically 2 types of question we usually have in the exam. One is calculating the balancing figure. That means calculating any balance from the ledger. And then we have the errors and the rectification.